U.S. President Donald Trump delivering an address to the joint session of Congress in Washington, D.C. This was his maiden speech after being inaugurated on January 20th. President Trump began the address to the joint session of Congress with a three-word message that said, "America is back." He said that this will be the dawn of golden age of America, and we have accomplished more than 43 days. What we have accomplished in 43 days is more than what has been accomplished in the last 4 or 8 years. He also said that the American dream is unstoppable. He talked of freeze on foreign aid, terminations, federal funding, doing away with Biden restrictions, bringing back free speech in the U.S., allowing only 2 genders in the U.S. now. He mentioned the bold decisions he has taken to unshackle the U.S. economy. He also referred to the decisions he made to make America affordable again. He talked of the fight against inflation, focus on energy and avoiding the wastage of taxpayers' money. He brought in his new ministry, Doordarshan, and he mentioned the termination of numerous initiatives taken by the Biden administration, which, according to him, were futile. He came down heavily on Biden administration for wasteful expenditure of public money in the name of social security. Open border policy of Biden administration was also criticized by Trump. No tax on debts, no tax on social security benefits was announced by Trump. Trump also mentioned about the tariffs by many countries, both friends and foes, and how U.S. now shall not allow beyond April 2nd those tariffs. He also said that U.S. will tax other countries with the same tariff that these countries, friends or foes, have been taxing U.S. with. He also mentioned the resolve to push out the illegal immigrants, detention of lawbreakers out of the U.S. He called it great liberation of America. He also had tough words against Mexico and Canada to stop fentanyl smuggling. Bringing back law and order to the U.S. was also mentioned. Strengthening the judicial system is now a priority for Trump administration. So these were some of the important highlights of the address given by President Trump. Let's bring in our correspondent Anil Thomas, who is there with us to get us more. Anil, it was a very stern Donald Trump talking to the Congress, to the joint session of Congress, and also at the same time informing the world about the resolve to make America great again. For the benefit of our viewers, get us the important highlights, the crucial points which Trump mentioned, which Trump reiterated, that would bring America back on track, make it great again. All right, I will be joined in by Anil Thomas in a short while from now. Meanwhile, these are the visuals we're getting for you from the joint session of Congress, where U.S. President Donald Trump, after delivering his address, is meeting the members there. And our correspondent Anil is there with us. Anil, I just gave some of the highlights to our viewers, wherein it showed Donald Trump, the U.S. President, to put forth a stern message, a very stern and a resolved Donald Trump there talking to the joint session of Congress. At the same time, he also had a very stern message for the world. Let us know more from you. How do you evaluate the joint address of Trump to the Congress, wherein he reiterated his intention of making America great again?
Well, good morning, Preeti. Well, it's one of the longest speech ever that's been addressed to the joint sitting of the Congress there, and one that lasted over 100 minutes, 6 weeks of power that Trump 2.0 has enjoyed, and all the achievements, the perceived achievements that Trump has made was, being spoken about in patches across that 100 minutes that he spoke. But all in all, if you see, he spoke about not only making America again from a perspective that where he spoke about cleaning the house within, but also taking charge of the situation across the world, especially when it comes to the 2 conflicts.
Yes.
And also speaking about how he's cut off aid to all the countries in the world, especially, the long bills that US was drawing. And we've seen glimpses of that. And I think this particular counterproductive tariffs that have been announced on Mexico and Canada, you're seeing knee-jerk reactions coming from world over. There is a likelihood that Justin Trudeau would be holding talks with Trump tomorrow. And Vladimir Zelensky has already indicated that he's ready for talks with Trump once again. So clearly, the message that Trump was trying to, or the messaging that Trump was trying to do through this address to the joint session has clearly been positive for Trump. And I think the 100 minutes of, one of the longest that we've seen, the longest before was 105 minutes by Bill Clinton way back in 1993. But this is one of the longest, but one that's driven on many points, especially when it comes to the opposition, the Democrats, who decided to walk out halfway through because they claimed that they were bored with all the achievements that were time and again being spoken about, which had no substance, but which was more good music to the ear. And I think it all started on the wrong note. Al Green standing up and Texas Representative Al Green standing up and trying to disrupt the message by Donald Trump and being thrown out of the house or being asked to leave the house clearly didn't set the ball rolling. But all in all, if one takes a look at the 100-minute speech that he's made, he's driven home the points that he had come prepared. And this particular speech has also been kept the social media trends that exist, and he's taken point by point all the points that he needed to highlight and give it to the people of America and to the world.
Yes, Anil, he did come prepared. This is what his report card showed. But then when we talk of his address, his address had that resolve, his address had that intention, some kind of humor also. At the same time, his address also gave those moments of glory to the Americans, who represented the decisions which he took in office all this while. Having said that, you as a journalist, how would you evaluate how these decisions or how this sentiment and resolve of Trump will go a long way for America in the near future? Because he ended his speech, he ended his address on making America the greatest civilization ever on earth. I would want you to compare his stint previously as the president and now Donald Trump 2.0. How have the circumstances changed? How has he as the president changed?
Well, that's a tough nut to crack, especially when it comes to comparing Trump 1.0 with Trump 2.0. These are early days. That's why this is not a State of the Union address. A State of the Union address is when a government has had 1 year of run, and that's why this is a address to the joint house of the Congress that Trump has made. One of the longest speeches, yes, for sure, but then one that had substance where it mattered the most, but one that was also bereft of facts on many of fronts. There are many instances, especially when it comes to the role of Dodge that is placed, the role of no longer people who are going to be unelected coming and running America, running the show for America, all that being out that he's promised about. He's also spoken about all world aid being cancelled, but let's also understand that there is aid that's been pumped to the tune of 11 billion to Israel. So it's there were many instances where they were devoid of facts, devoid of substance. But overall, one takes a look at this particular speech. This particular speech has been kept, first of all, keeping the Republican vote bank in mind, and he's driven home points that mattered the most. But I think Democrats have also used this opportunity in a great way. They came up with placards of false and also of Musk, because they know the role that Elon Musk has to play in this administration, and they have targeted Trump at important junctures during the address that he's made, especially during his address today. And I think all in all, if one takes a look at Trump 1.0 and 2.0, it's too early days. I just said 6 weeks into the administrations. To be precise, 43 days of administrative work that he's done. But one that's where the pen is done all the talking. It's just not mere talk that Trump has done. He's also put pen to paper when it comes to signing important legislatures. And I think somewhere deep down his ratings matter to Trump. And Trump's ratings have taken a beating. But we'll have to wait and watch post this particular address that he said how his ratings are moving. But this is one speech that America is going to remember for long, for the longevity of it. Because, this particular speech, after a point of time, I felt that half the people sitting in the Congress were finding it difficult to concentrate. But he's harped on every issue that America needs address, America needs attention, right from inflation to job cuts to even genders and also world issues that many have spoken about, the perceived achievements that he claims, like the Gulf of Panama, Greenland, all the topics that he's touched on. I think it leaves a lasting impression on a leader that means business, a country that is looking to drive the world order, a country that's a superpower, and a country that is ready once again to flex its arms. It could ruffle a few feathers, maybe continents like Europe, but then it's ready to bite the bullet when it matters the most. And I think that's what Trump manages to drive home. And that's a big, big messaging that he does from the Capitol Hill to the world and to America.
And yes, he did convey that to the world and to America in spite of the lack of concentration there. Thank you so much, Anil, for joining in with those insights. Thank you for that understanding and that analysis. All right, so that was our correspondent Anil Thomas, and he talked of the Trump address to the joint session of Congress today, and we will in the bulletin ahead get to other highlights of the address as well. But at present, we are heading for a short break. We will be joining you in just a while. Stay with us.
This week on Defense Dynamics, the geopolitics in Europe is undergoing a major shift after the Trump-Zelensky clash. How will this affect the continent's security and alliances? As Europe rethinks its defense posture, India-EU relations take a center stage. What does this growing partnership mean for global security? Meanwhile, the Indian Air Force faces a critical fighter jet shortage. The Indian Air Force chief warns of a serious gap in Scotland. How can India build up this deficiency? And in a bold move, Bharat Forge claims that it can handle India's artillery needs. Is the private sector ready to replace foreign imports like that the K9 Vajra? Tune in this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India News Hour. British Defence Minister John Healey will meet US Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth in Washington on Thursday to discuss a crucial peace plan for Ukraine. Now, the meeting comes amid a flurry of diplomatic efforts to end the conflict after US President Donald Trump paused military aid to Ukraine following a fallout with President Zelensky. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is scrambling to repair relations with the US after a tense meeting with President Donald Trump. The Ukrainian leader has called the clash regrettable on his post on social media platform X, mentioning the meet. He wrote that the meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to be. It is regrettable that it happened this way. Zelensky also expressed his willingness to sign a contentious minerals deal which would grant the US access to Ukrainian minerals in exchange for military aid. However, the deal's fate remains uncertain. Trump's decision to halt military aid to Ukraine has sparked widespread criticism, with many viewing it as a betrayal. Zelensky now seeks reassurance of the US on Ukraine's commitment to peace and its readiness to negotiate with Russia. The move puts pressure on European allies to step up their support for Ukraine. Let's get you updates on Israel-Hamas conflict now. Israel on Tuesday signaled readiness to move to the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal, but stressed that an agreement on the release of hostages held by Hamas is crucial to extend the framework. Speaking in Jerusalem, Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar said that Israel was ready to proceed to the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal as long as Hamas was ready to release more of the 59 hostages it is still holding.
And then we'll open it for questions. We don't have an agreement on phase two. We demand total demilitarization of Gaza Strip, Hamas and Islamic Jihad out, and give us our hostages. If they agree to that, we can implement tomorrow. We will only have to then discuss the ratio for the terrorists that want to get out from our jails. Okay? It was not agreed in the agreement. It was left to be agreed on phase two. There is no shelf agreement on phase two. There's nothing in it.
Israel criticized a plan put forward by Arab states for Gaza's reconstruction on Tuesday. Shortly after a summit of Arab leaders in Cairo, the Israeli Foreign Ministry in a social media post said that the reconstruction plan failed to address the realities of the situation following Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. Israel also criticized the statement's reliance on the Palestinian Authority and the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, continuing Israel's allegations of corruption and support for terrorism against these entities. Arab leaders adopted an Egyptian reconstruction plan for Gaza on Tuesday that would cost $53 billion and avoid displacing Palestinians from the enclave. Egypt unveiled its plan on Tuesday while hosting an Arab League summit in its capital, Cairo. The plan aims to counter President Donald Trump's proposals for a Middle East Riviera by presenting a scheme for rebuilding the devastated strip without displacing its population. Under the Egyptian plan, Gaza's Palestinian population would not be forced to leave the territory. The plan offers an alternative to U.S. President Donald Trump's suggestion that the Gaza Strip be depopulated in order to develop the enclave under U.S. control. Tuesday's Arab League summit in Cairo aimed to offer an alternative to that vision, a day after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated his support for Trump's proposal. Speaking at the start of the summit, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi called upon the leaders to adopt the Gaza Reconstruction and Development Plan.
عملت مصر كذلك.
As the Arab foreign minister's endorsement of the Gaza Reconstruction and Development Plan and the adoption of the draft of the final statement, I now call upon to adopt the Gaza Reconstruction and Development Plan and the draft of the final statement. It has been endorsed.
بحيث تكون تلك اللجنة.
You're watching DD India News Hour. We're waiting for a short break. Stay with us.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's talk of sports now. We'll talk of cricket. Virat Kohli played a magnificent knock to guide India to victory by 4 wickets against Australia in the semi-finals of the Champions Trophy in Dubai and seal a berth in the final. Kohli fell for 84 runs, but not before he took his team closer to victory. The ace batter added over 90 runs with Shreyas Iyer for the 3rd wicket after both the openers were dismissed below 50 runs. India lost captain Rohit Sharma for 28 runs while Shubman Gill was out for 8 runs. KL Rahul and Ravindra Jadeja took India over the line. Earlier, Indian bowlers restricted Australia to 264 runs after captain Steve Smith won the toss and opted to bat. Mohammad Shami took the 1st wicket when he dismissed Cooper Connolly, while Travis Head was out after scoring a quick-fire 39. Smith was the top scorer with 73 runs. Mohammad Shami was pick of the bowlers with 3 scalps, while Ravindra Jadeja and Varun Chakravarti took 2 wickets each. The Indian crowd present at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium were elated after the thrilling match results as India secured a win in the rematch of the 2023 ODI World Cup final. Take a look.
Our team played well as expected, and Australia is always a tough opponent, so it was super duper cool. And yeah, we're looking forward to the finals, and we will be there in the stadium to cheer our team.
It was a great match, and we are going to finals, and we are going to win it this time. India! India! We saw a great game. Australia and Travis Head was our headed, but finally we kicked them out. Now it's going to be, whether it's New Zealand or South Africa, we are going to crush them. And the Champions Trophy is going to be ours.
New Zealand will take on South Africa in the 2nd semi-final of the Champions Trophy in Lahore on Wednesday. New Zealand convincingly won their first 2 games of the one-day tournament in Pakistan, then lost to India in Dubai and have now flown back to Pakistan again for the encounter. New Zealand are likely to stick with their 3-pronged pace attack of Matt Henry, Kyle Jamieson and Will O'Rourke, while South Africa defeated Afghanistan and England to top their group. South Africa might make some changes in the playing 11. Tabraiz Shamsi has not appeared at the Champions Trophy, but the left-arm wrist spinner might be called up in place of paceman Leungin Ngidi. In football, Real Madrid claimed a small edge on Atletico Madrid with a tight 2-1 win in the first leg of UEFA Champions League 2024-25 last 16. Julian Alvarez leveled for Atletico after Rodrigo Goes sent the hosts ahead, but Brahim Diaz stroked home the winner for a record 15 time to much delight for the team. Diego Simon's Atletico kept stars Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe quiet but still came up short. Meanwhile, Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti opted for Morocco international Diaz in midfield to replace the suspended Jude Bellingham. Atletico will host Real Madrid next week at the Metropolitano Stadium. The winner of the match will face Arsenal or PSV Eindhoven in the quarterfinals. New Orleans celebrated the end of carnival season on Tuesday with a colorful and lively Mardi Gras parade. Now, Mardi Gras is one of the nation's largest and most renowned annual carnival celebrations. Take a look. On that colourful note, we'll end this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.